Hey there and welcome to MurderTube. So for today's case, this is one where the murder is probably less shocking and messed up than what the murder victim themselves had actually previously done. This is going to be the case of Dee Dee Blanchard and Gypsy Rose Blanchard. Claudine Dee Dee Blanchard was a single mother who was raising her daughter, Gypsy Rose. Gypsy was a severely disabled child who suffered from numerous different illnesses. Gypsy suffered from leukemia, asthma, muscular dystrophy that caused her to need a wheelchair quite often. She had hearing issues, sight issues. Every couple of months she would suffer from seizures, and at times she would require the use of an oxygen tank. Also, due to a premature birth, Gypsy had suffered brain damage, and she only had the brain capacity of a 4-year-old child. So of course, Gypsy was constantly having doctor's visits, she was on numerous different medications, and she spent her entire life having numerous different surgeries to try and heal her and also just keep her alive in general. Despite all of this though, Gypsy was a happy child. And people that had met Gypsy and her mother Dee Dee would say that they both seemed fairly normal, fairly happy, and that Dee Dee was always going out of her way to make sure that her daughter had her medications, her wheelchair, her oxygen tanks, and was forever taking her to her medical appointments and surgeries and doing what she needed to care for her sick child daughter. On June 14, 2015, in Springfield, Louisiana, things took a very sudden twist in Dee Dee and Gypsy's life. A neighbor had noticed a very alarming and concerning Facebook post that was on Gypsy's Facebook account. The neighbor called the police, and the police did a visit on the home of Dee Dee and Gypsy. Inside the home, Dee Dee's body was found face down on her bed in her own blood with numerous stab wounds to the back. She was dead. Gypsy, however, was nowhere to be found inside the house, but all of her medication, her wheelchair, her oxygen tank were all still in the house. She had either left or been abducted, and those were not with her, and she needed those to survive. There was, of course, a lot of public sympathy for Dee Dee and a lot of public panic for the welfare of Gypsy. However, it did not take the police very long to locate Gypsy safe and sound. See, Gypsy had a secret relationship with a 26-year-old man that she had met online by the name of Nicholas Gojon. Nicholas suffered from some mental disorders, but he and Gypsy had fallen in love. Due to this secret relationship and some stuff that the police found through social media, the police conducted a raid on Nicholas's house in Wisconsin the day after Dee Dee's body was found. In Nicholas's house, Dee Dee and Nicholas were both found safe and sound, and both were taken into custody. The teenage girl had planned her mother's murder with her boyfriend. The night that Dee Dee was killed, Gypsy let her boyfriend into their house while her mother slept. Gypsy handed her boyfriend some gloves, some duct tape, and a knife. Nicholas took these items into the bedroom and stabbed Dee Dee 17 times in the back as she slept. While this happened, Gypsy hid in the bathroom with her hands covering her ears so that she would not hear her mother scream. The young couple then fooled around in Gypsy's bedroom, grabbed some cash that was lying around the house, and they made their way to Nicholas's house in Wisconsin. The murder is actually not really the shocking part in this case though. The shocking part was when the police announced that Gypsy was not a teenage girl, she was in fact 24 years old. And on top of that, this girl that spent a lifetime with numerous severe illnesses was actually perfectly fine. She had none of those illnesses. Dee Dee was not the nice, caring person that people thought that she was. A long time ago, she was caring for her own mother, and her family believed that she actually killed her own mum by slowly starving her to death while giving her painkillers and medication. After that, Dee Dee spent some time caring for her stepmother. Her stepmother was mysteriously getting even worse while Dee Dee was caring for her. The family confronted Dee Dee and accused her of poisoning the stepmother with Roundup. When Dee Dee stopped caring for the stepmother, she miraculously got better. Dee Dee was not charged for any of this stuff, though this is of course just accusations that the family made against Dee Dee. In July of 1991, Gypsy Rose was born. Her father was married to Dee Dee at the time, however, it wasn't long until he realized that he married for the wrong reasons, so he divorced Dee Dee and he had since remarried. He would try and stay involved in Gypsy's life, however, whenever he made plans to come visit Gypsy, Dee Dee would always make up excuses and switch plans on him so that he could not. He did, however, of course, pay child support all the way through her life, but Dee Dee told people that Gypsy's dad was an abusive drug addict who paid nothing and had nothing to do with his daughter's life and wanted nothing to do with his sick, disabled daughter. From pretty much as soon as Gypsy was born, Dee Dee began to see illnesses in her infant daughter. This led to the infant having to undergo numerous medical tests, and these tests and surgeries would continue throughout the infant years, the toddler years, the childhood, the teen years, and into the early adult years of Gypsy. The illnesses, of course, would get worse and worse and more severe every year. Gypsy, of course, knew that most, if not all of the illnesses were fake. However, if she ever said anything while in public that would contradict her mother's story, when they got home, Dee Dee would beat her daughter. This would even go as far as Dee Dee giving her daughter anesthetics before doctor's appointments so that Gypsy would be drooling while they were at the doctor's. Due to this, Gypsy would be given Botox and then later on have her saliva glands removed to help stop the drooling. Due to the saliva glands gone, as well as numerous of the medications that she was on, her teeth rot and she lost pretty much all of her teeth. This wasn't just the mother telling some lies here and there. This was her mother purposely doing things to Gypsy to continue these lies, and Gypsy being the subject of physical and psychological abuse from her own mum. Dee Dee claimed that her daughter's illnesses were far too severe to send her to school, so she would homeschool her. However, Dee Dee didn't actually teach her daughter anything. Gypsy couldn't read for a long time, and she had to teach herself to read. So because of this, Gypsy didn't really have any time away from her mother. She was trapped with her abuser. And Gypsy didn't actually know how old she was. Her mother would not only lie to her about her age, she also forged a birth certificate to make it look like Gypsy was a lot younger than she actually was. On top of this, Dee Dee said that a lot of the important documents, such as medical records, were destroyed in a flood caused by Hurricane Katrina. So she used this excuse as a means to continue her lies. It's believed that Dee Dee suffered from Munchausen syndrome by proxy, which is a condition when a parent or caregiver exaggerates illnesses in someone under their care so that that person can obtain attention and sympathy. On top of the attention and sympathy that Dee Dee would receive, she also gained numerous other benefits. They received quite a bit in public donations at times, as well as they would get free flights to other cities and states when they would go have these doctor's visits. They would be able to stay for free at the Ronald McDonald charity homes. They would obtain free passes to Disney World, free backstage passes to concerts, and the home that Dee Dee was murdered in was built for them by Habitat for Humanity. And to receive all of this, it just meant that Dee Dee would spend over 2 decades physically and psychologically torturing her own daughter. Now, Gypsy did try to escape her mother on a previous occasion. In 2011, they were attending a convention when Gypsy disappeared. But Dee Dee did find Gypsy in a hotel room with a random man that she had met online. Dee Dee used the fake birth certificate to show this man that Dee Dee was actually a child when she was actually an adult at this time, and told the man that if he did not leave, she would phone the police and have this man charged for being with a minor. The man, of course, was worried and he left. And when Dee Dee and Gypsy got home, Dee Dee grabbed a hammer and smashed Gypsy's computer apart. She also told her daughter that if she tries to escape again, she will use the hammer on her daughter's fingers. Gypsy would later continue to use the internet, although secretly while her mother slept. And it was at this point in 2012 when Gypsy met Nicholas in a Christian singles group. The couple talked for some time and began their secret relationship, which they continued for a couple of years. Gypsy came up with a couple of ideas of how to escape her mother. One of those was if she became pregnant, then Dee Dee would likely be forced to accept Nicholas into Gypsy's life, and that would begin to give her some freedom. The other option was that Dee Dee had to die. Nicholas, blinded by love, agreed to enact the murder for the love of his life. Nicholas was found guilty of first-degree murder and criminal action. Prosecution would not seek the death penalty, and he was sentenced to life in prison. Gypsy Rose took a plea deal for second-degree murder, and she was sentenced to 10 years in prison. Since being in prison, Gypsy has said, "I feel like I'm more free in prison than living with my mum, because now I'm allowed to just live like a normal life." She is also looking much better and much healthier. Dee Dees family had no sympathy for her, and they flushed her ashes down the toilet. Gypsy suffered over 2 decades of abuse at the hands of her own mother, and now she'll spend a decade in prison. She'll be in her mid-30s by the time she is released and can begin to actually live a normal life. Hopefully, while she's in prison, she will get the attention and help that she deserves so that she can overcome the abuse that she had suffered and live a normal life when she is now free. She planned the murder of someone, however, she was an abuse victim. She saw no way out other than for her mother to be murdered. She could have gone to the police, however, her mum made her believe that the police would not help her. Her mum made her feel that the only way out was for her mother to die. So does a victim of abuse deserve to spend 10 years in jail for that? If she didn't take a plea deal, would she likely be free now? Let me know what you think in the comments below on that one. And as always guys, like the video if you liked it, dislike if you don't, let me know why in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe, and make sure you guys stay safe out there. It is a very crazy world.